Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here again, taking apart your source material to find those really useful insights, the practical stuff. And today, we're hitting a big one. Something lots of language learners will grapple with. How you actually start thinking in English.
Right. It's a really common sticking point.
It really is. And we're not just talking vocabulary lists or, grammar rules here.
No, it's deeper than that.
It's about flipping a kind of mental switch, making English feel, well, natural, automatic even.
Yeah, getting past that constant translation loop in your head.
Exactly. That feeling, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Translating word by word by word. So this deep dive is about how you move beyond that stage.
And it's a challenge I hear about all the time, that mental gymnastics of translating. It really slows people down.
Yeah.
Makes them feel less fluent than they probably are, knowledge-wise. But the good news is the source material we've got today.
Which comes from a really insightful conversation.
Exactly. It offers some very practical, actionable ways to change that internal process. It's actually quite exciting.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Right.
Where do we start with this whole mental shift idea?
Well, the sources jump right into why it feels so tough at first.
Right.
And the core idea is pretty simple, really. Your brain naturally defaults to your first language. Makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
If you've spent your whole life thinking in, I don't know, Vietnamese or Spanish or Arabic.
Or anything else.
Your brain just wants to go back there. And that can really slow down your responses when you're trying to speak English. Makes you hesitate.
And what's interesting is just how universal that is. The source material even mentions a personal story.
Oh, yeah?
Someone mentally putting together whole sentences in Portuguese first, then translating to English.
Wow, that sounds exhausting.
It highlights just how much cognitive load that takes, right? This constant internal translation.
Yeah.
But the key takeaway, and the source really hammers this home, is that this is a skill. It's completely trainable.
Okay, trainable. That's the hopeful part. There's actually data on this, isn't there?
Yes, exactly. The source points to a Cambridge University study.
Right, I saw that.
And it found that learners who actively train themselves to think in English, they speed up their fluency by a huge amount.
Like 40% faster. A staggering 40%.
40%. It's not just about talking faster either.
No, it's about freeing up that mental energy, right? So your brain can focus on actually communicating, not just translating.
That Cambridge figure, the 40%, it's really compelling.
It is.
It suggests fluency isn't only about what you say, but how efficiently your brain works behind the scenes.
Right. Changing that internal habit makes a massive difference externally.
Absolutely.
So, okay,
Yeah.
If it is trainable, how do we actually do it? How do we make that shift happen?
Well, the sources get really practical here. They talk about these powerful mini habits.
Mini habits. I like that.
Yeah, things that can just gently nudge your brain towards English mode, even for just a few minutes each day.
Okay, give me one.
The first one is incredibly simple. Almost seems too simple. Just name what you see around you.
Just name things.
Yeah. Walk into a room and silently, or, hey, out loud if no one's listening.
Right.
Just name things in English. Chair, window, my coffee, laptop.
Huh. It's like feeding your brain these little consistent English snacks all day.
Exactly. Building familiarity, reinforcing those connections. No big effort needed.
Okay, but, it sounds almost too simple. Like you said, someone might feel a bit silly, silently naming their lamp. How do you get past that initial awkwardness? And how often do you need to do it for it to actually, rewire things?
That's a fair point, and it ties into consistency. The source stresses that even these tiny consistent inputs start that rewiring.
Okay.
Think of it like you're paving a new road in your brain, a direct English highway, instead of always taking the detour through your first language.
Building new neural connections,
Yeah.
making English the default route.
Precisely. These small, almost playful actions just chip away at that old translation habit.
Okay, that makes sense. What else? Any other mini habits?
Yeah, another great one is weaving English into your daily routines.
Right.
Like when you're brushing your teeth or making tea or coffee, just silently narrate what you're doing in English.
Oh, okay. So, right, I'm making tea now. The water's boiling. Okay, adding sugar, that sort of thing.
Exactly that. It connects the language to your actual life, your lived experience.
So it stops being just this academic thing you study?
Right. And becomes a tool you use for everyday stuff. It grounds the language in your reality, not just a textbook. That's a really powerful shift.
Yeah, I can see that. And there was another one mentioned, maybe the most powerful.
Ah, yes. talking to yourself.
Right, actually talking to yourself.
Yes, really. Just say what you're thinking, even if it's only inside your head.
So, like, internal monologue stuff. Okay, I'm tired today, but I've got that meeting. Maybe coffee first.
Exactly. The source highlighted this as truly transformative for one of the speakers in the original conversation. Well, they basically stopped waiting for chances to speak English with others and just started having these conversations internally, all the time.
That internal chatter is huge, isn't it? I mean, everyone does it anyway.
We all do. Silently debating what to eat or mentally running through a difficult phone call.
Yeah.
This is just about consciously directing that existing habit into English. You're solidifying patterns, making connections, all without the pressure of someone listening.
It's like pure practice with no filter.
Uninhibited practice, exactly.
And you'll know it's working, right? There are these breakthrough moments the source talks about.
Oh, yeah, that's the payoff. There's a fantastic example in the source.
The sorry one.
That's the one. One speaker was just walking along, someone nearly bumped into them, and totally without thinking.
Just popped out.
An instinctive, just slipped out. In English, no translation, no pause, just automatic.
Wow. That's the goal, isn't it? That's the sign you're really starting to live in the language.
That spontaneous, unthinking reaction. That's the ultimate proof the brain has genuinely started, as you say, living in English.
Yeah.
It's the result of all those little, consistent habits finally clicking into place. A real breakthrough.
Okay, so these mini habits are key. But what if you want to, speed things up even more? Supercharge the process.
Yes. The sources have some great tools and tricks for that, too.
Go.
One really simple one. Change your phone's language setting to English.
Well, that's an easy win. Full immersion just by looking at your phone.
Exactly. Another is listening to short English podcasts or, daily news clips.
Now short.
Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be hours.
Right. These are ways to surround yourself with English that feel less like homework, more like life.
Precisely. Creating an environment where English is just naturally present in your day.
What else? There's something about writing.
Yes. Keeping a one-line English journal.
Just one sentence.
Just one sentence a day. Could be anything. Today was hard, or I feel tired, or had a good meeting. Simple.
Okay. And watching videos. YouTube.
Yeah. Watching YouTube with English subtitles on. But here's the trick.
Yeah.
Don't read every single word trying to translate. Try to just feel the meaning of the sentence. Get the general gist.
So moving beyond that word-for-word trap again.
Exactly. It's about understanding the meaning more holistically, like a native speaker would.
Right.
Building that intuition.
Got it. And there was one last really powerful tip about how we learn words. Or rather, don't learn words.
Right. Learn language in chunks, not just single, isolated words.
Chunks, meaning?
Meaning phrases.
Yeah.
Instead of learning, I don't think so, separately and then trying to assemble them, learn the whole phrase, I don't think so, as one single unit.
Like a prepackaged phrase.
Exactly. That's how native speakers talk, right?
Yeah.
We use expressions, common phrases, idioms. We don't usually build sentences one word at a time from scratch.
That makes so much sense. It's like having these ready-made blocks you can just pull out and use.
It really reflects how language works naturally. It builds fluency because you have these phrases ready to go without consciously constructing them every time. It's a mental shortcut.
Okay, wow. Lots of practical stuff there. So let's maybe pull this all together. Recap the core ideas from this deep dive.
Sounds good.
The big takeaway, I think, is that thinking in English, it's absolutely a skill you can train.
Definitely. Not some magic ability you either have or don't.
Right. And doing that leads to much faster fluency. Remember that Cambridge study?
The 40% improvement. Yeah, that really highlights how vital this internal shift is.
Totally. And we talked about the power of those mini habits.
Mm-hmm. Like silently naming objects you see around you.
Yeah, or weaving English into your daily routine, like narrating making tea or something.
And the big one, talking to yourself in English, even if it's just that internal voice.
That quiet practice.
And then we covered those supercharged tools, too.
Right. Changing your phone language. Easy one.
Listening to short podcasts or news clips in English.
Keeping that one-line-a-day journal.
Watching YouTube, focusing on the feeling of the meaning, not just translating subtitles word for word.
Yeah, getting the gist.
And, of course, learning language in those useful chunks, like, I don't think so, instead of single words.
Right. These aren't just random tricks, are they?
Not at all. There's systematic ways to really start, living in English.
Living in English. I like that.
And that moment we talked about, that automatic, that's the proof it's working, that unthinking response.
Exactly. So, now, the challenge for you, listening right now, this comes straight from our source material.
Okay.
Today, Just try it. Name 5 objects around you. Right now, maybe?
Yeah.
In English.
Just 5.
Just 5. Then maybe take it one step further. Pick one small task you do every day, picking that tea, getting ready for bed, whatever, and describe it silently. Or even whisper it out loud if you can. Just narrate it in English.
A small, concrete action to start today.
Precisely. Now, before we wrap up, here's a final thought to chew on, something to consider.
Yeah.
If training your brain to think directly in English really does allow your mouth to follow more easily, more automatically, how might that deeper immersion, that way of living in English, how might that fundamentally change how you see the world? And maybe even change how you see yourself, your identity, as someone who communicates globally.
That's a deep one.
Something to think about. We really hope you found this deep dive useful.
Yeah, I hope it helps.
And we hope you'll join us for the next one.